Alright, what is going on, guys? This is my re-entry into my YouTube channel. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a video onto YouTube, and I apologize for that, but I really just lost interest in uploading YouTube videos, and finally I have the motivation back now to start uploading. So what I have here today is I'm working on what's called a sleeper build. You've probably seen builds like this online, computer builds like this online. And basically what it is a really modern day computer inside of an older case from like the 1990s. So we have some parts here today for that build, and to start we have the Ehret Z170 Extreme 4 motherboard, and again that's on the Z170 chipset. Paired with that, we have a Core i5 6500 CPU. Let's go with that motherboard. Also with that, we have a Seasonic 500 gigabytes hard drive, and I believe this is 7200 RPM, so it's fairly fast hard drive. Other notes before I get to the RAM here, we do have some other parts that are still shipping. We have a 120 gigabyte ADATA SSD that's coming in as well, and that's going to be what we're going to have our operating system on, along with some fan splitter adapters, so we're able to connect some of these fans in this older case that we have. But back to the RAM, we have 8 gigabytes of ballistics DDR4 memory running at 3200 megahertz, so it's some pretty fast memory for our computer here. And then we have an arrangement of fans. We have a fan from Deepcool, we have two Noctua fans, and we have, of course, some Corsair fans as well. We also have a LG Blu-ray drive that we're going to be putting in this case, because I have two other desktops. Neither of them have any kind of drive, not Blu-ray, not regular DVD, nothing like that. So it's going to be nice to have a build that has a Blu-ray drive in it. For our graphics card, we have the RX 570 from AMD. We have the RX 570 from AMD, and that of course is the Asus Strix version, so it has all the lights and whatnot on it. You know, it's got some fancy features. For our power supply, we have a 500 watt Antec 80 plus bronze rated power supply. That's going to be for our build, so it's not the best rated power supply, but we think for, you know, a build like this, a sleeper build, that it should be plenty enough to power everything. And finally, for our case, going back into the frame here, we have this Pelican computer case. It's actually not from the 1990s, it's actually from 2007, but the point of this build is for it to look old, and that's really the whole purpose, is to like have a modern day, really good computer inside of an older type case. So even though it's from 2007, I personally think it looks a lot older than 2007. I mean, wouldn't you agree, Kevin? Kevin's not answering, but he's shaking his head yes, I promise you that. So yeah, now on the inside of the case here, we have plenty of space for all of our components: motherboard, power supply, fan, possibly if we can get it to fit, graphics card, all the stuff. So it should be a pretty good build, and we're going to do like some type of time-lapse builds with all the components here as they go in, probably with some type of music going over or something, you know, like those YouTubers do. We're going to try and mimic that, but other than that, that's it for the parts. Let's get into the build. Alright, so the sleeper build has been completed. Now, there were a few issues as we were building the sleeper build that we had. The first issue being the heatsink for the CPU, or the CPU cooler. We did not have a cooler like, say, an aftermarket cooler. We wish we would have used an aftermarket cooler because, as I'm sure a lot of us know, the Intel stock heatsinks really do not cut it. Even at stock speeds on a lot of Intel's processors, the stock heatsink, a lot of the times, is running pretty hot. And by hot, you know, I'm thinking like maybe 80s at like 100% load, and that's just a random number. That's not based off of any test. It's just, you know, a number, the first number that comes to my head. But that was just one of the first issues that we had. So we did end up using an Intel heatsink, possibly, or we're going to upgrade that later, just because, you know, maybe put like a 212 Evo on there or something, just anything better than that Intel stock heatsink. But it'll do the job because the Intel i5-6500 is not an overclockable processor unless you say overclock the base clock or something like that. So since we're not going to be doing that and we are going to be running at stock speeds, we're fairly confident that the 6500 will be able to stay cool enough with the Intel stock heatsink that's currently on there. The second issue that we had was on the graphics card. We did not have an 8-pin PCIe power connector. We only had a 6-pin. So we are going to be getting one of those 6-pin to 8-pin adapters, because really I think the other two, don't quote me on this, if you know in the comments below, maybe you could, you know, tell me what they are, but I think the two that come off of that 6-pin are grounds. I'm not 100% positive on that, but if that is true, then there should be no issues with supplying the power of the 8-pin through a 6-pin connector, because the power supply that we have, that Antec 500 watt power supply, it does not have two 8-pins. It has one 8-pin for the CPU, but it doesn't have another for the graphics card. And of course our Asus Strix graphics card takes that 8-pin. So again, we are going to get 6-pin adapter to 8-pin plug, and it shouldn't be any problems with that. So other than those two issues, the third issue we had was the fan. You will notice in that, or I'm sure you have noticed in the montage, that there was a 120mm Corsair fan on the front of the case. That's about really all the fans we could fit in there, because there's no other place unless we got a couple like 50mm. I'm pretty sure like the two spots for fans on the back of the case by the I/O ports are 50mm spots, so we could order a couple 50mm fans and put those on the back just to have a little bit more airflow. But it shouldn't be too much of a problem since we do have that 120mm blowing fresh, cool air in from the front. So shouldn't be any problems there, and we did end up having to use a little bit of hot glue on it. I do not recommend hot gluing a fan to a case, but it was kind of our only option. And there is one screw in the upper right corner of that fan holding it in. So there's one screw and hot glue. Shouldn't be any issues with this mounting, and of course the hot glue does not interfere with the blades in any way. So other than that, that's really all the issues we had. The build is completed. Those few minor issues, we're going to work on fixing those and getting those parts we need to fix those issues. Another thing is all the parts used in the build will be in the description below, so if you want to know what the parts are, if you want to possibly do a build like this yourself, all the parts, maybe not the case, will be in the description below, because I'm not sure if I can find that exact Pelican computer case, but I can maybe link one down there in the description, one that's similar to it, for again any of you that are wanting to do a build similar to this. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like it, get the thumbs down. And if you didn't like it and you're hitting the thumbs down, why don't you drop a comment and tell me why you didn't like it. And please do drop a comment and tell me, you know, ways you think I can improve, so I can work on those and implement those in future videos. Other than that, thank you all for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.